Welcome to Know, I'm Meg Turney.
I'm Ryan Haywood.
We've got yet another fair use story coming from the dark places of the interwebs, and this one, sadly, even darker and weirder than most.
Yeah, and in a month where we've already seen Fox straight up steal somebody's YouTube video before having it removed from the internet, that's definitely saying something.
Yes, this latest case of where's the fair use, what the fuckery, comes courtesy of another media conglomerate, Sony, and more specifically, Sony Music, which recently tried to charge people money for fair use.
Yes, it is as bad as it sounds. This report comes from the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who's been following the curious case of Hudson Valley Bluegrass Association, an educational group that exists to knit together bluegrass musicians and fans. Musicians.
For a while now, HBVA has been running into trouble with some of their educational lectures about the history of bluegrass music on YouTube. You can probably guess what the trouble is if you've been following YouTube news ever. For any reason.
Yeah. Content ID takedowns! Because these lectures feature small bits of music, usually around 30 seconds worth, for educational purposes. They were flagged by YouTube's automated system for removal.
Which really isn't surprising, because that's what Content ID is supposed to do, identify copyrighted material and wipe it out. That doesn't make this story too crazy because literally it happens all the time.
That's of course ignoring the fact that HBVA doesn't make any money on their videos whatsoever, and almost nobody on the planet would choose to listen to the songs in the lectures on repeat rather than just buying the songs. But, you know, whatever, weirder things have happened.
Yeah. For the most part, HBVA is used to the DMCA do-si-do, even though what they're doing is exactly one of the reasons that fair use exists. Luckily, most of the companies who flag their videos have agreed to rescind the copyright claims once HBVA has contested them.
Which is the way this whole system is supposed to work. Content ID automatically hits a video, that person contests, the original copyright holder sees reason, and the circle of fair use happens.
Yes, at least that's the way the circle used to go for HBVA until Sony Music came along.
Yes, earlier this month when HBVA tried to contact Sony about some recently flagged videos, they got an interesting response from the company.
After explaining the use of music fell under fair use, HBVA was told by a Sony representative that they would be happy to reinstate the music to YouTube so long as HBVA paid a licensing fee first.
Oh, and not just like a small teeny itsy bitsy licensing fee. That would make things okay, I guess,
Yeah.
but not great. But no, how about $500?
That sounds like someone just wanted $500.
Shit, my car payment's late.
Can I get $500?
Bluegrass,
please?
500?
Yeah. According to the representative, this was based on a new company policy that uses such as yours be subject to a minimum $500 license fee.
They went on to add, if you're going to upload more videos, we're going to have to follow our protocol.
Ooh, that's a chilling statement.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love to pay a licensing fee for something I can legally use for free. Sign me up, please.
Yes, it's very benevolent of Sony Music to have even offered any kind of use. Most companies just take the videos down and no recourse whatsoever. So, hey, progress? Yeah, anybody?
Good
Maybe?
God.
No?
Just,
No.
let's all quit now. One thing the EFF article notes that makes this whole thing extra disturbing was that the Sony representative didn't point out that Sony disagreed with the assessment that HBVA's video constituted fair use. Instead, they insisted that regardless, even if it was fair use, the fee's still $500.
Which sort of makes it sound like Sony Music thinks that you owe them $500 regardless of how the content is used.
Right, and that seems to be much more of the case of EFF's follow-up article about the whole situation. Apparently, a separate Sony executive sent them an email stating that Sony has decided to withdraw its objection to the use of its two sound recordings.
They went on to add that the company would waive Sony Music's administrative fee.
So, fortunately, reason did win out here, and Sony didn't charge the Hudson Valley Bluegrass Association their standard licensing fee, but it still makes you wonder who has actually paid for it that didn't get the help of the organization like the EFF.
It sounds like this is something they may have pulled before, and
Yeah.
sadly, it may have worked on others.
If we've learned anything about ransomware, it works on people all the time. It also doesn't sound like they're even entertaining the idea of changing up the policy or reviewing it around legal fair use.
It's also really odd now that as the conversation around fair use intensifies, the overreaches made by corporations only seem to be getting more and more ludicrous.
Yeah, and really some of them may only be getting more brazen about controversial moves like this, with nobody really able to take them to task on it legally. More often than not, their opponents aren't people with the clout or money to combat them, like Hudson Valley Bluegrass Association.
See, it's hard to say.
It is.
So far, it's mostly been the court of public opinion that's been able to keep everyone from going and doing anything too crazy. Although it hasn't stopped anybody from trying, it just keeps them from following through.
Again, internet outrage does work, but that might not be the case in the very near future when you consider the current legislation that's on the table.
At the moment, many media corporations are urging Congress to study and possibly replace the DMCA in favor of a system that doesn't just auto-block, it auto-blocks, removes, and hurls the content into the sun. It's a filter and stay down rather than a takedown.
Yeah, it's essentially Content ID's scarier, bigger, bizarro twin brother. It's like on Game of Thrones where that one guy was like, hey, brother, it's my turn. And then he like, Meow. You don't know who I'm talking about.
I don't get that reference at all. Whether that legislation will ultimately go anywhere is up for debate. More than likely, this is just the music industry's flexing its very teensy amount of muscle it's still got left.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of Sony Music's alleged stance on licensing fees for fair use? Also, what's your favorite bluegrass song? Or do you even know one? Let us know in the comments.
For future rage-inducing instances of where there's fair use, like this video and subscribe to the know. Hey.
What about you, Ryan? What's your favorite bluegrass song?
You know, I played the banjo and slept with my sister. Hey ho. That's bluegrass, right? No?
I slept with my sister, hey ho. Is that like you were telling somebody and then you saw her, you're like, hey ho?
I didn't even think about that. No, it's good. No. But seriously, bluegrass is great.
It's wonderful.
I don't know any bluegrass.